Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of the Standing Room Only podcast. I am here with Healy, myself, Goose. I want to thank everybody for tuning back in, for listening last week. For any new listeners, welcome. This is episode 18. So we post once a week, so this is week 18. We are just over 4 months, going into 5 months. It's been a long road. We've had a lot going on. More recently, Healy, did we talk about you last week?
Yeah.
You came back from your trip already? Okay.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Okay. Well, anyways, just want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you are not following us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, we are the Standing Room Only Podcast. We are also on YouTube as well. Same name, Standing Room Only Podcast. You can find us on Twitter and on Instagram. Those are going to be the SR Only Pod. And then, of course, make sure you follow our personal accounts. Myself, I am on Instagram. I am iGoose with 4 O's.
And you can follow myself on Twitter and Instagram at TheHealy6. Yeah, if you guys are listening on the streaming platforms like Spotify or Apple, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to download the episodes. It's the best way to show some support and give us a rating. That would help out too.
Yes. So pretty much what Healy just said, go ahead and show some support, show some love, like, subscribe, download. If you know anybody that likes sports and needs something to listen to in the morning on the way to work, if there's a snowstorm, aka there's going to be one tonight into tomorrow, have them listen to the Standing Room Only podcast. You know, we love all support, and of course, always stay interactive with us on social media. So we have some news in
baseball.
Baseball. We can start with the MLB.
Yeah, Luis Severino, the upcoming ace for the New York Yankees, is going to be out another year. This time it's going to be the full year. Last year he only pitched 12 innings through 3 games. He had a rotator cuff inflammation, which held him out majority of the year. Now he's having Tommy John, so he's missing 2 years technically of his career, his 25 season and his 26 season, which after pitching 3-4 years in the bigs already, that is pretty big. This is supposed to be the time where he gets to the next level and becomes a dominant starting pitcher. He was great. He finished top 10 in the Cy Young in 2018 and 2017. Definitely unfortunate, especially with the Yankees signing Garrett Cole. And they have James Paxton now as well. The rotation, that team was supposed to be filthy. Now the rotation isn't as complete as it was before. Still strong, but not as complete as it could have been 1 through 5.
Exactly. So Luis Severino, obviously you said, pretty much last year he missed almost the whole season. He had rotator cuff inflammation, nothing you could do about that. But as you mentioned, he finished in the top 10 of Cy Young's 2017, 2018. 2017, he had 14 wins, 230 strikeouts. He had a 2.98 ERA, which is pretty damn good. And then the following year in 2018, he went 19-8, 220 strikeouts. ERA was a little bit higher, 3.39, but regardless, still very effective pitcher. It is going to hurt the Yankees, but luckily the Yankees do have a lot of run support. They have a lot of good bats, so I don't think they'll be impacted too much, maybe in the playoffs, but
they still have that great bullpen to hold them down.
Yep.
It's just Severino is supposed to be that number 2 guy for them, and he was the ace of the rotation before, so they were pretty much like the Astros or the Dodgers or like the Nationals, where they had 2 number 1 options in the rotation. Now, unfortunately, he's gone with an injury. I don't know who's going to be their number 5. I don't know who it was. I think it was J-Happ. They had Cole, Severino, Paxton, Tanaka, and Happ. Now they're going to have a 5th. Can't remember if they picked up anyone or not, but they aren't going to be able to replicate what Severino probably would have put up in 2020.
Yeah, especially at his age, being 26 now. He's pretty much in his prime years, so who knows? But, we wish him a fast recovery. Tommy John surgery usually is pretty successful. More recently in modern day medicine with baseball, that's kind of like the route everybody goes. And they come back stronger. They have more velocity on their pitches, so if anything, it'll help him. Obviously, he's not going to pitch at all this year. We'll see next year.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually almost a year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think he might miss the beginning of the season next year. Tommy John definitely takes a year, maybe a little longer. Like, if he had it last January, I would say, yeah, he would definitely make next season. It's closer to the regular season a little bit. So you could probably see him towards the end of spring training, but I don't know if he'll be ready for the beginning of the next season. Definitely should make an impact, though.
Yeah, yep.
And spring training started, a bunch of games happened. The stats don't necessarily matter. Tim Tebow hit a home run today.
I saw Tim Tebow did.
His first extra base hit in Major League camp in 4 years. So shout out to him, I guess. I don't know how he's still on the team. Actually, I do know. It's because of his name.
But it helps to be Tim Tebow, right?
Yeah. Besides that, he's not a great baseball player. Lewis Brinson, the worst batter in baseball last year, has 8 home runs already in spring training. Another anomaly. And another just spring training doesn't necessarily matter.
Yeah, spring training never generally matters. I mean, yeah, you can see some pitchers, they'll come out, like Garrett Cole pitched. He had 2 strikeouts in his spring training debut. It was cool to see, but like at the end of the day, it's for one, it's the first week of spring training. For two, I personally don't really watch spring training. I mean, I do stay in tune with the news, the updates. You know, Jose Altuve's getting hit in his first at bat or in the first game.
Yeah, that was a breaking ball that got away, but it was funny how he did technically get hit.
He got hit, yeah. So we'll see. As stories develop and the drama with the MLB. I'm expecting for the season to start off with the Astros, all eyes on them, because I mean, now that they have a new coach, they have Dusty Baker. They have this, what I think is still a pretty damn good Astros baseball team. I mean, they're still predicted to win, I think it was like over 90 games this year.
Yeah, they lost Garrett Cole, but they do gain Lance McCullers back.
Exactly. So I think that they are going to do well. It'll be interesting to see what fights break out early in the season. I feel like after the first month, maybe 2 months, it's going to die down.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to necessarily forget about it, but they're going to get their licks in. Astros, they'll make their run, and we'll see. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, especially with all the media. But
yep,
that's pretty much it for the baseball content. We're moving over to the NFL. And this week, we did put out a poll. I put it out just today to see what people thought of the new NFL playoff format that could happen. Last week, we talked about it. The NFL is considering adding an extra team into the playoffs, which would make it so that there's only one bye per conference. The top team would have the bye. And then also, there would be an extra wild card game on Saturday and Sunday. The rest remains the same. On Twitter, we got 100 votes. 45% voted yes. 55% voted no. So I guess that's kind of close. 5-way or 5% swing. Not too big. I think on Twitter or Instagram it was a lot larger.
Yes, that's what I'm looking at right now. It looks like 28% for yes on Instagram. 72% said no.
How many votes?
The total number of votes, 32.
Not bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. 18 votes.
Okay.
18 votes. So it wasn't a whole lot. Obviously 1 or 2 votes to yes would completely change how that looks. I did have a friend of mine who actually pointed out one reason why he would say no, and he said simply, it's not the NBA. Not every team needs to make the playoffs. I guess I feel that a little bit. You're going to add more teams, and the NBA. The only reason why I would say that's a problem is comparing it to the NBA is the NBA's playoff is almost a whole nother season. It's all 7-game series. It takes forever. It's 2 months of basketball. With the NFL though, you're not gaining any time. You're only going to have one team from each conference have a bye.
Yeah. And
you're adding an extra game. For the NFL, it makes sense, right? Financially, they're going to get more viewers. They'll get more money, more ads, however you want to look at it. For teams, I feel like it's going to be more competitive.
Yeah, you get another team a chance.
Yeah.
Playoff races towards the end of the season will get more competitive, too.
Exactly. And then we're not adding more time to it. So the Super Bowl is still going to be February 2nd, 3rd, whatever date it normally is. And I mean, personally, I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I would vote for it. I would vote for it. It's change, and it'd be nice to see. Now, do I feel as though it is going to be weird when there's teams making the playoffs that are like maybe 8-8 or 9-7 more frequently? But I mean, sometimes shit happens in the season, and those teams that go 9-7 may have had early injuries, and they made a push at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see if they end up rolling that out. It seems like our Twitter world and our Instagram world does not want it. I would be okay with or without it, but I mean, sure, why not?
Yeah, I would say go with it. The argument of it's not the NBA. The NBA has 16 teams making the playoffs. They have 30 teams in the league. So that's over half the teams making it, which is why it's so diluted. And you get teams that go below 500 to make the playoffs. Also, with the NFL, you'd have 14 out of 32 teams. You aren't even at half the teams making the playoffs. There's only one extra team per conference. So I still think that it's not at the NBA level, and you still will get good teams into the playoffs. And like you said, it's not adding an extra weekend of football. You just get more action the first week compared to the others. One game. The other weeks, you'll still have the 4 games. You'll still have the 4 games. And then
I feel like it'll just be competitive.
The 4 games, the 2 games, and then you'll have the Super Bowl still.
Yeah, you'll have all the same games. Well, you'll have more games, right? But then you have one team has the bye week. But I'm looking at like a competition factor. Like normally the Ravens are okay, they're 14-2 or 13-1, 13-2, whatever going into the last week. Let's sit Lamar Jackson. We have the first round bye. Now you can't sit him because only one team gets the bye.
Yeah.
And I think that right there is a huge – you have the teams at the top who want that bye. You have teams at the bottom who are fighting for that wild card spot, which is how it is right now. But it makes it a little bit more competitive throughout the whole season for all teams because anybody can necessarily make it. Like, obviously, you know, we always look at like, okay, the Patriots are definitely a playoff team. They're going to dominate. Their division's weak. The Chiefs have Pat Mahomes, who is a magician out there. They're going to make the playoffs. And now you're narrowing it down to, okay, what are the last 2 or 3 remaining teams that are going to make it? So now you're adding an extra team. I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun for the sport. It'll be change. I don't know. I'm not against it.
Yeah, and this past season, you would have had the Rams making the playoffs at 9-7. The Cowboys and Bears, they were both there at 8-8.
Yeah.
And I think the Bears, they did win their last week, but they sat their guys.
Yeah, exactly.
They were pretty much out of it the last 2 weeks of the season, and they could have tried more. You had a couple teams go 7-9 with the Falcons and Bucks. It just allows for that final spot to be a little more competitive, and also, like you said, with the bye, you just won't be as complacent with having that first round bye. In the AFC, you had what teams missed? You had the Steelers go 8-8. They were 1 game out. They would have made the playoffs, and then you had a bunch of teams go 7-9 that would have been 1 game behind.
Yeah,
and maybe they could have had another game. Like they could have tried a little harder at the end, maybe if they were out in this current format.
And that's kind of like, you know, where it's hard to really say. Like I can't give like 100% yes. It's almost like devil's advocate because now when you look at Pittsburgh missed it by a game, Denver was right there, the Raiders were right there. These are all teams that are 500 or below. And that kind of falls into the category of basketball where it's like, okay, teams under 500, for instance, Chicago, Washington, and the NBA are 20 and like 35 and 38, and they're only 3 games out of the playoffs. So then it's like, okay, maybe we shouldn't have those teams there. But I would still say if it happens, I'd be cool with it. I'd be happy. If it doesn't happen, which may not, okay. But at least, you know, change isn't always bad.
Yeah, I'd be fine as long as it doesn't get more than half the league. That's when you start to have a problem.
Exactly, because then it's like, where's the competition at?
Mm-hmm. And you pretty much could coast through the season and still come out with like a championship, which you want the best teams in the playoffs. Yeah, a lower seed team could win it, but you you have to at least be like a decent team and prove that you're good in the regular season and not just coast or like have some stuff happen and then pick it up right at the end of the season. But I still think 14 teams out of the 32 wouldn't be too bad. One extra team. We just looked at the records, 9-7 records.
Yeah, it'd be one from each conference.
Yeah.
One less bye week, which is also kind of tough too, because then you'll have a team like, San Francisco or Green Bay or New Orleans not get that bye week. So it'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting. You're making you're literally putting the best team in that conference in the next round, not the two best, but the actual best. So that's pretty much, that was a good poll. I like that. So I want to thank everybody for voting, staying interactive is what I've been referring to, getting feedback on stuff like that too. But as far as the NFL, it's pretty much right now, we're going to have free agency. We're going to have the combine coming up here and then the draft and that's pretty much that.
Yeah, on to NBA news. Steph Curry returns on Sunday. Big return. I know the Warriors are garbage right now.
Horrible.
They aren't going to do anything, but it will be fun to see Steph Curry come back and hopefully light up the court.
Yeah. When they first said that he would probably miss the whole season, I thought that was a joke because he was hurt, but it was, what was it, like a broken bone in his hand, something like that?
Well, he has nerve damage.
Oh, he does have, okay.
He still will have nerve damage when he comes back.
Okay. But that could be, even beyond this season. So, it's cool regardless to see him come back. It'll be fun for their fan base. Obviously, they're struggling right now at a 12-45 record.
Yeah, the worst in the NBA.
They had a huge trade in which they got rid of D'Angelo Russell. They brought in Andrew Wiggins, who I think is doing better overall statistically with Golden State as far as the other stats that count outside of points. It'll be fun to watch. Maybe Draymond Green gets it going. I'm not going to say they're going to make a push for the playoffs because that's not realistic, but it'll just be fun for them. I still think that they should continue to tank.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, as cool as it is that he comes back, they have the number one pick, like, best odds. I think the top three have the same odds now.
Yeah.
So maybe they still remain bottom three team. But with Steph Curry coming back, you probably will win a few more games and could hurt your draft record, but in the end of the day, oh well.
I feel like what they're going to end up doing, and we see this a lot, so he's going to come in, they're going to fill the seats, right? And then they're going to be like, well, we're going to scratch him. He's sore. He's sore. He can't play back-to-back nights on the road or whatever it may be. So I expect him to still play. We're at, 57 games, so that leaves us under 30.
Yeah,
25. 82 games?
25.
So 25 games. So out of the 25, I give him 13, 14 games. Why not? So it'll be good for the city, for the fans to see Steph Curry come out. Because he can ball. He can probably, with nerve damage, is still going to drain him from half court.
Are they in the new stadium now, or the new arena?
I think this is the new arena for them.
Okay, so yeah, they'll pack the new arena, fill some seats, get some of that revenue that they spent on the stadium.
Yeah. And then, so that's pretty much wouldn't call it kind of breaking news, right? Steph Curry's coming back, the old MVP. And then, that's pretty much it for the NBA. Now, one thing we do want to touch base on, that we've been kind of discussing off the air is, mid-season awards. So we have the NBA awards, obviously. You have the MVP, we have Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved, we have the Coach of the Year. And then, am I missing a fifth?
You have Most Improved, Sixth Man, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, and then Coach of the Year.
So, with that being said, I think we can go through the list, right? So, I think we can go. You want to start from the bottom up, or you want to go from the top to bottom? Obviously, the top being MVP.
Yeah, we'll go top to bottom. Also, this is not our predictions. This is, as of now, if the NBA season ended today. Yes. We also know it's not the mid-season mark. 57 games, it's not 41, but technically around the All-Star break.
Obviously it's not the mid-range, or the mid-season, but that's when they start to kick it up a notch. So, would you like to start with your MVP honors of the first half of the season?
Yeah, MVP, I would say, is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think he's going to go. He would go back-to-back MVPs. He's averaging 29.9 points. He has 13.6 rebounds, which is fucking amazing. And then he has 5.8 assists per game. That is unbelievable, and nobody in the NBA right now is matching those types of numbers.
For his size, the way he spreads the floor, the way he dominates the paint, his ability to shoot, pass, and continuously grow as a player, mature level, his IQ is, I'm going Giannis. You cannot not go Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
He's averaging just about 30 points a game. He's going to the line for the most in his career. He's averaging 10 free throws a game. His free throw percentage did drop, but when you're shooting more free throws a game than what you have been, he's a big guy. They don't always shoot the best. The funny thing is about all of this, he's averaging under 31 minutes a game.
Oh, my.
Under 31 minutes a game. And he's putting up these numbers. He is averaging, from three-point land, 31%, which is the most he's averaged since his rookie season. He's shooting 55% from the field, which is incredible. And then all the other stats that you just pointed out, the fact that he's averaging 13.6 rebounds a game, almost 6 assists a game. He's averaging a block a game, a steal a game. This guy, he's not only just a stat stuffer, but he's a dominator inside the paint, outside the paint, offense and defense. We saw him in the All-Star game do it, and there's hands down. I mean, yeah, you have LeBron who's doing great, Anthony Davis who's probably statistically doing a little better than LeBron. You have other guys like Russ and James Harden and Trae Young, who is having a great year. Of course, Luka. They're just not Giannis.
No.
And I don't see Giannis slowing down.
Nope. And the Bucks have a league-leading 49 wins.
They clinched the playoffs.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. They have clinched the playoffs with 24 games to go. They have so the leader in the West is 43-12. They're 5 games up on the Nuggets. The Raptors are 42-15. Similar record to the Lakers a little bit. And they're 7 games back of the Bucks. And also, another stat, Giannis, if the season was to end today, would have the highest single-season player efficiency rating in NBA history.
32.3.
Yeah.
That's high. His career, he's averaging 22.9, so think about that. And he's had a pretty damn good career minus his rookie year. I guess his first 2 years weren't the best, but he was still a pretty damn efficient player. I wonder what's LeBron's player efficiency at right now. He's got to be at least close to 30. His player efficiency right now, if we look at LeBron James, he's at 25.4, 27.5 in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 32 is pretty damn high.
And you want to hear the season that Wilt Chamberlain had? That he has the second and third right now. Wilt Chamberlain, in his most highest player efficiency rating season, averaged 50 points per game, 25.7 rebounds, and he had 2.4 assists. I don't think they did blocks back then, but actually he had 44.8 and then 24.3. So, like, those numbers right there, and Giannis is more efficient than I guess Wilt Chamberlain was in those years. Absolutely wild.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't see him slowing down at all. The fact that he's doing it, and I mean, it's only halfway through the season, so I guess maybe it could drop, but I really, really do not see him slowing down. The fact that their record is what it is, 31-4 in the conference, 12-1 in their division, 26-3 at home, 23-5 on the road. And I mean, this team isn't full of all-stars. I mean, sure, they have Chris Middleton, who is pretty good from downtown. He's a good offensive player. They have Eric Bledsoe, who is a pretty good point guard, I would say. He's athletic. But without Giannis, this team, I would flip that whole record around. I would say they'd be as bad as Golden State, hands down. And for him to have that efficiency rating, I mean, there's no way you don't give him the mid-season MVP award.
Yeah.
If not the regular season MVP award. We still got to wait.
Yeah. And then the next one, I guess we'll go over Rookie of the Year. We talked a little bit about this.
Yeah.
If the season was to end today, it would easily be Ja Morant. That guy has been electric all year so far. He has had a bunch of highlight plays, and he is not afraid to do much. He attacks the rim.
He's an explosive player. He's fast. His IQ is growing as we speak. He's averaging almost 18 points a game. He's shooting almost 50% from the field, which is pretty good. 35% just about from 3 points. Almost 7 assists.
One steal a game.
Yeah, he's nothing shy of a great player. For sure an all-star next year. There's no way I don't see him not being an all-star. Part of the reason why this Memphis team is even in a playoff hunt right now. I mean, this organization has been rough. They've always been focusing on defense with the Tony Allens and
Zach Randolph and
the Gasols.
And Rudy Gay was pretty defensive too.
Yeah, they never had a good identity, and I think Ja Morant, they have Jaren Jackson Jr. I love what this identity makeup is starting to come about for this team. But Ja Morant right now, if you had to honor Rookie of the Year, mid-season Rookie Award, it would be Ja Morant. End of the year is going to be a little different.
Yeah, Zion will definitely be pushing towards that Rookie of the Year title. I know he won't play as many games as Ja, but
I don't even know if it matters.
He's putting up 22.8 points per game, 7 rebounds, 2.3 assists, almost 60% from the field.
That's huge.
40% from 3. And this guy, 0.7 steals per game, 0.4 blocks. This guy has just been a monster since entering the league.
His player efficiency rating, 25.8. I'm almost positive that's higher than LeBron, if I'm not mistaken. And here's the thing. He is averaging 41%, almost 42% from 3. This is a guy where we knew he can shoot the long ball. We didn't know how well he would shoot it. Mm-hmm. But he's not scared to shoot it, and he's hitting it. That's the big thing. And he's pairing up in a very young core right now, so he's able to blossom and just shine like we knew he would, no matter where he went. Perfect fit. For right now, if I had to predict the Rookie of the Year at the end of the year, I'm going to knock on wood, bearing any sort of injuries, Zion, to me, with the way he's playing and the efficiency, is the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and that team, very good. You could see them get a playoff spot. They are 3 games back. And if you guys do play the video game NBA 2K, the New Orleans Pelicans are a very good team to use, just so you guys know.
Just an FYI. It doesn't matter if you play me, though. That's a whole different ball game. Healy can contest. Besides the last time we played, we don't want to talk about that. Not on the air, Healy. Anyways, the next award. Should we talk about the Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, I think this is going to be like another easy one with Rudy Gobert. No,
Ooh.
You have a different one?
All right, give me your reason, because I was on the fence with Rudy Gobert and another player, but I went with the other one.
He has 14.3 rebounds per game. He has 1.9 blocks, 0.7 steals. I think I read somewhere where he's holding guys to a good shooting or like a terrible shooting percentage. I could be wrong, though. It might have been someone else. But Rudy Gobert, just with the rebounds, blocks, and steal number, I think we'll give it to him.
Yeah, so I'm torn. I'm seriously so torn between Rudy Gobert and Anthony Davis. The reason for Anthony Davis is because he's averaging more steals. His block number is higher. So Anthony Davis is at 2.5 blocks. Rudy Gobert is at 1.9. So we'll call it 2. So as far as blocks and steals go, Anthony Davis is beating him. Of course, with rebounds, Rudy Gobert is leading his team. But to be fair, Rudy Gobert does not have a LeBron James to also pad his rebound stats.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of just Rudy Gobert. 1-2. Whoever wins it is well deserved. I mean, Rudy Gobert can very well win it. I mean, he's, as you mentioned, he's holding guys to a low field goal percentage, at least as far as in the paint. He's very efficient, very, very efficient player. I just think with the year that Anthony Davis is having and with what he has around him to grab rebounds, I think that he's doing pretty well. So he is only averaging 9.5 rebounds a game, which is a huge difference. But when I think of Defensive Player of the Years, I think of guys who truly dominate when it comes to blocks and steals. And that's where I think they would give it to Anthony Davis only because, well, Rudy Gobert, I'm pretty sure, won back-to-back. I don't think he's had anybody.
Voters fatigue.
Yeah, I feel like that's where it's going to go. If I had to give it for mid-season award, because that's what we're talking about, I'm going to go Anthony Davis. He's played 48 games. He's playing the minutes. He's getting the steals. He's getting the blocks, and he's helping dominate with LeBron.
All right. So now moving over to Sixth Man of the Year. This one's a little iffy just because there's so many good guys that come off the bench. Personally, I would give it to Lou Williams. I hate that he's considered a sixth man. He averages 30 minutes a game.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it. But he does come off the bench, and he's averaging 19.4 points per game, 6 assists, 3.2 rebounds per game. His field goal percentage is okay. He mainly chucks up threes. And
he's very good when he chucks up threes.
Yeah, and his free throw percentage is there as well. And he plays with the Clippers, which is pretty good. Did you have someone different?
I do have someone different. So I was kind of torn. Naturally, I do think Lou Williams is the sixth man of the year. But as you mentioned, he plays a lot and he shoots a lot. He's a damn good basketball player. Starting, off the bench, whatever, he would start most teams, right? There's a couple of guys I'm actually torn between for this sixth man of the year. I'm between right now Dennis Schroeder of OKC, who's averaging 19 points a game. He's a guy who is averaging 31 minutes a game. Sure, it's a little bit higher, but he's also out there rebounding. He's averaging about 4 rebounds a game. He is getting about 4 assists a game. So it's about average that you would get from... He plays both guard positions. But if I had to choose right now, based on efficiency, scoring, and I would consider him up for the sixth man only because the number of games that he started is very limited, and I think he might get it, is Derrick Rose. He's averaging 18 points a game, shooting almost 86, or he's shooting over 86% from the free throw line. His 3-point percentage numbers are a little down. He is at 29%. Field goal percentage is up, though. He's up around 48%, almost 50% shooter. And his player efficiency rating is at 20.7 compared to Dennis Schroeder, who's at 16.9.
And Lou Williams is 17.2.
So we see Derrick Rose handling the rock a lot, which he should. I mean, granted, he's not the old Derrick Rose that we all remember in Chicago. But he's definitely playing extremely well. Coming off of the bench, he is averaging only 26 minutes a game. So he's doing it all in a little bit of amount of time.
Yeah.
So
it's good to see. That would be awesome. I would love to see him win an award.
Yeah, something.
Be back in the spotlight a little bit.
That would be, yeah. I would have to say that's my pick for sixth man.
Yeah, that one's a little underrated.
Yeah, not too many people talk about Derrick Rose winning that. It's always Lou Williams because he's just such a good scorer, especially late in games.
And he's on a good team.
And he's on a great team. Derrick Rose coming off the bench. They've had Reggie Jackson, who was starting for a while. Then they got rid of him. And then they have like Bruce Brown, I believe, who's kind of starting to fit into that guard position. I know he's a 2 guard, but he's kind of filling in the point position as well. But I like Derrick Rose for the first half, sixth man of the year award. Next award, most improved player of the year. Halfway through the season.
Who's your pick?
My pick right now is Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, that's the same for me.
For anybody who watches the game, the numbers he's putting up, I don't think I would have saw him putting this up this early after leaving the Lakers. Even after Zion came back, he's still putting up good numbers. He's doing it all right now. He is averaging a total of 24.5 points, 47 field goal percentage, which is not bad, 40% from downtown, and he's getting his rebounds and assists. He's got over 6 boards, so he's filling the stats. He's my choice for most improved.
Yeah, same with me. His point differential from last year to this year, he's playing the same amount of minutes. His assists have gone up, rebounds have gone up. I think he's just flourishing more in this system. I don't know why. It seems like whenever LeBron goes to a new team, the small forward that they have that's promising is always there. It's just unfortunate because same thing happened with Wiggins. He got traded immediately. He did go to the Timberwolves. He never actually played with LeBron, but I did not feel like Ingram and LeBron on the same floor were decent. Brandon Ingram, what a lot of people have said, is like compared to KD a lot.
Yeah,
he's
with
that
his
lanky
size,
shooter.
Yep.
And yeah, he just needs to put up the ball a lot.
Yeah, and there's so many other good players who can be up for most improved. I don't even know if you could probably throw Melo in there, right? Carmelo, it's not a comeback player of the year, but he did fall off for a while, hence why he wasn't on a team, even though I still thought he deserved to be on an NBA team. He's up there. Luka Doncic's actually averaging a lot more points a game than he was. Devontae Graham in Charlotte is turned his from last year to this year, turned it around. He's going to be he's a great young star right now. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's really good, but ultimately Brandon Ingram for me is the midway most improved. If his numbers decline because of Zion, which I don't see happening, then sure, maybe one of these other guys that I said, but as of right now, Brandon Ingram's definitely my pick.
And then the final award is Coach of the Year. Personally, for me, if it was a little bit closer, I might have a different opinion. I'm going to have to go with the coach for the Bucks. I don't know his name. Is it Mike
Budenholzer?
Yeah.
Mike Budenholzer. He won it last year.
Okay, yeah. I would have to go with him again just because the Milwaukee Bucks record and is so good. I get that they have Giannis. They have the MVP. But they don't have like too many great pieces around him. It's pretty much, you do have Middleton, who was an all-star before. I don't think he was this year. But besides that, they don't have like the Lakers with Anthony Davis and LeBron.
Multiple MVPs.
Yeah. The Celtics, you have like Tatum and Kemba Walker. And the 76ers, you have Embiid and Simmons.
Yeah, so for me,
it could possibly be the Raptors too.
That's exactly who I was looking at. So obviously the Bucks, they have nobody. They have literally nobody. They have They have
Siakam and Lowry, but they don't have that.
Is Lowry
MVP type player.
Yeah, we've seen Lowry fold so many times. They do have they have Fred VanVleet. They have Norman Powell, some younger guards that are okay. I think that Nick Nurse is doing pretty damn well. The fact that they have 42 wins and are only 7 games out of the number 1 seed, because the NBA historically doesn't just go with the best record.
Yeah, I think they've won 18 out of their last 19 games.
That's crazy, because I was looking at it and I saw their last 10 games, they're 9-1. They're great at home. They're 23-7 in Toronto. And they're incredible. To do this without Kawhi Leonard, I thought for sure a barely above 500 team without Kawhi, but they're doing it. Obviously, they have talent. They have Siakam. They do have Marc Gasol. They have Kyle Lowry, air quotes. I guess I would have to give it to the Bucks, though. You have to give it to Budenholzer for leading this team. I mean, historically, one of the best runs that we're seeing next to a Golden State Warriors team that did it a few years ago. A few seasons in the 90s with the Bulls. But if you think about these teams, they've had great Hall of Fame, All-Stars, MVPs. Mm-hmm. The Bucks have Giannis and some decent enough talent around them.
So, yeah, the Raptors have won 17 out of their last 18. Milwaukee's won 17 out of their last 19. They're currently playing right now. It's 35-44. The Raptors are winning at home in the second quarter. Could easily change, but, oh, man, that's a good matchup to watch tonight. Speaking of the two teams.
Yeah.
And Giannis.
And you never know. Like, the NBA normally votes for, like I said, it's not always the best record. Like, in the West, Nuggets have 40 wins or 39 wins.
Yeah, it's always the team that didn't expect to do great, but they exceed their expectations.
Exactly. I was reading, like, OKC Thunder. I think that Billy Donovan, because they're technically in the playoff hunt, and they will be a playoff team. And, I mean, to be fair, I thought that team was trash going into the year. I thought Chris Paul
even with
hit
Chris
a plateau and then some.
And then they were going to trade him.
They were going to trade, yeah. And now it's like, wait.
He was an all-star again.
He was good. He's doing extremely well. They have Gilgeous-Alexander. They have Steven Adams. Guys that are pretty damn good, but as a unit, they're playing well. I mean, this team could end up winning almost 45 games, and I would say that's a lot more than I expected from them. Mm-hmm. A lot more. So yeah, so I guess we're both going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks head coach. And then, do we have any other awards?
No, that would be it.
That's it? The GMs and the coaches that deserve to get fired the most, is that an award?
The Bulls.
The Bulls. Anyways, I loved how the fans let them have it on live TV.
Oh, yeah. It definitely brought a lot more attention to that whole situation nationally. And it's making the owner even consider firing them. When for years, he just ignored it.
He ignored it. Oh, he took us. We had Garpax take us to the playoffs with Derrick Rose back in 2010, and we had a playoff run in 2011. That was 10 years ago. I was very young. I was still in high school during that time. And that was like, I don't know what they live off of. I don't know, like, where is it pride? Is it, we developed this, we're going to roll with this?
I think it's just mainly he's friends and they're too close together that he just allows them to keep their job and get paid.
And I'm telling you right now, I don't know if you watched the Bulls-Washington game 2 days ago when Bradley Beal put up 50 points. Bradley Beal.
And the Bulls won, though.
Bulls did win. It was a close game. The Bulls were up like 18 points at one point, and then Bradley Beal's going off. Bradley Beal is good. He needs to get out of that franchise, or they need to do something. But what I'm getting at is the Chicago Bulls, Kobe White, back-to-back 30-point games. We have Thad Young doing well. We have, obviously, Zach LaVine's putting up numbers. And it just goes to show that the Bulls, and I've been holding it in and not talking about Chicago, about the Bulls for weeks and weeks now. But just seeing the performances from this young core who it's almost like one game is one player, the next game is another. But we're seeing a little bit more consistency out of Kobe White, who's getting more playing time. We have Thomas Satoransky, who's put up great numbers in this Washington game. And, Lauri Markkanen's hurt. We have some Wendell Carter's hurt. We need to develop this genetic makeup that's going to work. And I'm telling you right now, Boyland is not the coach to do it, and Garpax do not care. They don't give two shits about what's going on. They want their money. And the thing is, the game we went to, it was dead. There was no fans. And I guarantee you there's probably more games like that will continue to happen until there's changes.
Yeah.
So, sorry, we spun off from the All-Star topic or the mid-season awards to adding our own mid-season award as Chicago fans. But yeah, so that's that for the NBA. That's that for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I don't know, shout out to Tyson Fury for defeating.
That was, man. I can't believe Wilder. Like, I get it's somewhat an excuse, but you got to think, like, you really were going to wear 45 pounds and not expect you to be like worn from that?
I am average height, people. I can walk to a ring wearing 45 pounds of gear, and I guarantee you it would not fatigue me. He's looking for any excuse. He should have went with, I turned into a power punch, got cracked in my ear.
Yeah, his equilibrium was
just destroyed. And it was clear as day. I mean, this dude was not on his feet at all. And, I mean, Fury, he did what he picked him apart. And
he leaned on him, too.
Yeah.
That was tough. Like a 50, 60-pound weight difference, and you just lean on him.
Smart. And I think he played it well. The next fight, is there going to be a rematch? Maybe, maybe not.
I think so, because I think Wilder's going to... They have a rematch clause in the contract, and I think he's doing it.
Yes. I think at some point, Deontay Wilder needs to fight Anthony Joshua. This is just my opinion. And obviously, if I would really hope that would happen before this fight with, the rematch with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, and then the winner of Fury and Johnson face Tyson. But obviously, that's not going to be the case. It is going to be a different fight. I'm sure Deontay Wilder is going to come out. For one, a lot of people were saying, don't come out with your wife. It's like one of the unwritten rules. And he did, or his girlfriend. That's at least what I was reading. You don't do it. And he did, and then he came out with all this gear. He looked, I thought it was badass. I thought it was the coolest thing.
45 pounds, wow.
Yeah, but that is heavy. It is heavy. But
and especially just standing there, too.
He was, versus Tyson got carried to the ring like the gypsy king that he claims to be, And so I think overall it was the right call, throwing the towel. He was not defending himself. He's gushing out of his ear. They know the rematch is going to happen. Let it be.
And also, it was 7 rounds in, and I think Fury won pretty much all the rounds. So, you weren't going to win the fight. You had to have Wilder win the remainder of the rounds.
Or knock him out.
Yeah, and that wasn't happening.
It wasn't happening. He did land one shot earlier in the fight where he cracked him. And I think they counted as it was a power punch. Yeah. And Fury was like, okay, well... not too affected by it. He still kept his composure. He stayed in there. And, when Wilder just couldn't, there was nothing he could do.
And he kept missing those. He had so many opportunities where he had big punches thrown, and he just whiffed over the head.
He just kept missing. And you could tell his balance wasn't there. His equilibrium, he busted whatever was in his eardrum, whatever it was, definitely threw him off. And it threw him off the whole rest of the fight. For him to last to the 7th round, I give him credit. I give him a lot of credit because he looked bad. He looked horrible out there. He looked like Conor McGregor in the last 2 rounds against Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. That's how bad he looked. But anyways, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Tyson Fury on that. That's pretty much going to sum it up. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Once again, this is week 18. Again, we are the Standing Room Only podcast, Apple Podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify. Download and subscribe. That's how we get our views. Leave a rating. Follow us. Stay interactive. And, of course, our personal we should say our Twitter and Instagram is SRO Pod.
SR Only Pod.
SR Only Pod. I'm sorry. I should know this. And then our personal Healy.
The Healy6 on Twitter and Instagram.
And I am iGoose, 4 O's on Instagram. Go ahead and thanks for listening.
Yeah. See you guys next week.
Peace.